All right. Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to see all of you, only I don't think I do. I think there's another page of you. So I'm, I'll be scrolling. Um, we are at the end of this year for First Wednesday. We standardly run, our teaching year is from October through June. And I know some of our study groups are going to take a little break. However, I want you to know there's going to be a lot of opportunities for teaching during the summer. Kim is continuing her lecture study on twice a month. Joe Brickley will be offering some things out along the way. Joanne Gago and Kathy McAllister will be offering a beginners group. So those of you who are beginners, keep that in mind. I'm going to be starting a meditation group that's just going to be a half hour, one morning a week. So keep an eye out for your emails from us and check our event calendar on our webpage, because things, I know there are other people considering doing other kinds of teaching also. So keep that in mind. This has just been, I think by anyone's standards, a most unusual year, I think for all of us. Most of us turn to technology for our contact with the outside world. And many of us lived a really restricted life filled with anxiety about politics, about social unrest, and of course, the ever near possibility of either catching or spreading COVID. All of our teaching this year has been done over Zoom. And I really just want to take a moment and commend our teachers, those who have taught Pathwork principles, those who have given us the overview of the previous, those who have done the previous month's overview or review, and then those who have taken on the sizable task of giving the lecture for the month. And I particularly want to point out those new teachers, Deb Davis, Barbara Jean Nagrant, Judy Kuchenmeister, Peg Pahuli, and Julie Trappel, for not only stepping up to teach a First Wednesday, which in and of itself is a sizable, it's a big effort to do this, and particularly when you're new. But to take it on and take on Zoom, I can't begin to tell you how different it is to be talking to a little dot or these little squares on a screen versus being in person. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Yeah. I particularly want to thank Billy. He has been our technical wizard and has kept us going. I think we could have maybe stumbled around and gotten something done. I don't know. But Billy, you have given us knowledge with an open heart, and to many of us, not only in this region, but in other regions too. So thank you. We are really, really grateful. And I want to thank each one of you who have attended our First Wednesdays, sitting in your homes, connecting in via a small screen, little computer screen. So thank you for hanging in there with us throughout the year. It is noticed and it is most appreciated. Thank you. Most of us have most of us have been fortunate and have made it through unscathed, maybe with no direct association with illness or death. Others of you I know have been directly impacted through your professions. And I know a few of you have really been have taken a big hit with your livelihood this year. But I'm guessing that no matter where we fall on that scale of direct involvement with the coronavirus, most of us have been impacted by a year that's been greatly restriction of personal interaction. So I bring kind of a big question, and I offer it out for further thought from you, because as path workers, we take everything that happens as important for our growth. So as we settle ourselves for 2 minutes of silence, let us reflect on this question. Have I been changed by this year? What have I learned about myself? What have I learned about others and the world? Have I been impacted emotionally and spiritually? So let's take a couple of deep breaths. Everyone except me is muted, so breathe with intention. And when you exhale, let it go, let it come out, and let go of worries and concerns with each exhalation, if only for the next several hours. Leave the laundry list of do's and worries and concerns, because they're going to be there if you care to pick them up again at the end of our time together. I'll ring the bell at the end of 2 minutes of silence, and your reflection, your beginning reflection on how have I been affected by this past year. I hope that you will continue that thought that started on how you've been, or have you been, changed by this last year. I know we're all ready to let it go and get out there and begin, but it might be to our benefit to really reflect on what we have learned. So I get the joy of reintroducing Joanne Brickley, who has just completed our first actual in-person, honest to God, touching, being in the same room day of teaching. She did an immersion day. And I have heard through the grapevine that it was just a beautiful experience and extremely successful. Joe's going to do the recap and of last month's lecture, and she was the one who presented it. So I'll turn this over to Joe.
Thank you, Judy. This is from lecture 191, Inner and Outer Experience. The true meaning of life is experiencing life in its depths to its fullest. Life experience is feeling. That is what we mean by life experience. And on this planet, the limitations of our consciousness, life experience is blurred. Consciousness without feeling lacks the spark of spirit and is thereby limited. To savor life to its fullest, the defense against feelings must be eliminated. For without feelings, all of life is deadened. As it is, we are afraid of our feelings due to a wrong conclusion that we came to as children. The child in us believed and still does believe that the fact that we are in pain is due to a belief that there is something wrong with us, that we are bad, unworthy, unlovable. This is the mental construct that we want to challenge. This mere misunderstanding keeps us locked in a prison, alienated from our real selves. Underneath that thought, I am bad, there is a feeling. Ask yourself, what is that feeling? What is it that I am afraid to feel? It is always a pain that you have already suffered and are afraid to ever feel again. When we guard against any feeling, however, we prohibit the natural flow of life. When we say, no, I must not experience that, we create duality. Our real suffering is due to this duality, not to the pain that we have already suffered. The purpose of our being here on this planet is the unification of the human state of consciousness. Our life's purpose is the unification of consciousness. This requires a decision, the decision to feel and experience what is already in you. Any real feeling can easily be born. Open to what you fear and let the experience be in you so that it can dissolve. experience the pain softly, gently, without inner fight. When you learn to fully savor a painful experience, then you truly overcome it. The pain will dissolve and turn into its original nature, which is the blissful, peaceful vibrancy of the river of life. Here's how it goes. We start in a defensive, mostly unconscious state of child consciousness, where we experience the recycled hard pain of duality. We fight and demand and are angry. We have hundred thoughts of I am bad, wrong, or you, the other, is bad and wrong. Our will is a forceful demand of submission or rebellion. Our emotions are tight, painful, and hopeless. As we bring our awareness without any judgment to that state of consciousness, we can slowly transition to the state of consciousness with a healthy conscious ego that we refer to as 50-50. Sometimes life is painful here. We do not always get what we want here, and we can, if we are willing to, bear this frustration. We know we can bear the occasional soft pain of life, that it is merely an inconvenient and momentary experience. As we accept life as it is on this planet, we can bit by bit grow into the unitive state. We know our life's task. We know we are here to unify consciousness with the all. In this state of consciousness, pain and pleasure becomes one. We are filled with the joyousness of knowing that all is well in the universe. And so it is.
Thank you, Jo. That was lovely. Our theme for the year has been standing for yourself and others, a spiritual journey to your true power. And because it's the last of our season, I'd like us to take a moment to reflect. How do you stand for yourself and others? Are you closer to standing in true power now than maybe 6 months ago or a year ago? We've had the benefit of 8 lectures. We're going to have our 9th this evening. Hopefully, they have had an impact on us. And we have also had this extraordinary year, which I've just referred to. For most of us, being sequestered in our homes by ourselves or with close family. What have we learned about ourselves from the last year, and has it impacted our ability to stand for ourselves and for others? I've asked each of the First Wednesday teachers to give us their understanding of how the lecture they taught relates to this theme. Unfortunately, I couldn't use them all because I don't have the time, but they all gave me great things to use. As I read their thoughts, ask yourself, how do you stand in relationship to these statements? Standing for yourself and others means transforming pain rather than avoiding, running away, or defending against it. It means striving to be ever open, aware, honest, and self-responsible. How do we stand when we think of those things? And I would ask us, as we look at these things, to hold ourselves in love and compassion, and yet, honesty. Standing for yourself and standing for others means cultivating the discipline to find and the transparency to communicate your part of an upset. Are we able to do our work and not back away from conflict to meet it and bring healing? Standing for myself means having the courage to surrender to my true self or higher self, and then accepting the consequences. Only when I am able to do this can I stand for others. Until we accept ourselves as we are, we can't stand up for ourselves. Once we do, we can stand up for anything. These are just a few thoughts gleaned from several of the lectures given this year. I want to encourage us all to continue our self-reflection and reading throughout the summer. Reflect on where you are emotionally and spiritually. Hold yourself with love and compassion and a sense of honesty. And ask for help. Don't forget to ask for help from those in the community and from Spirit. We are on a lifelong journey, and we really need each other. I'd like to leave you with one thought for the evening before Billy gives us his lecture. We can each be instrumental in halting the pollution of truth, love, wisdom, divine reality by merely becoming more aware of our negative thoughts and attitudes and asking for help in changing them. I'll read that one more time. We can each be instrumental in halting the pollution of truth, the pollution of love, the pollution of wisdom, the pollution of divine reality by merely becoming more aware of our negative thoughts and attitudes and asking for help in changing them. And may it be so. And because I'm not to take up any time with an introduction, here is Billy.
Who needs no introduction. Hi, everybody. It's great to see you all. Thank you, Judy. That was beautiful, by the way. Thanks for that generous introduction also. I'm kidding. I told her I don't like big introductions. Hi, Alicia. I'm glad you turned your camera on. It's always nice to see faces and see animation, so appreciate that. Our theme for the series, as Judy shared, is standing for yourself and others, a spiritual journey to your true power. And tonight we're going to look at how our attraction to and identification with negativity keeps us from being able to stand for ourselves or others. So one of the most powerful tools we have in our Pathwork toolkit in life is the ability to set an intention. In fact, tonight is about a kind of hidden intention we have called it's a negative intention called negative intentionality. So we'll see how this is an intention that works against us It directs a large part of our experience on this planet, and not in a good way. And one way to rise above being buffeted by negativity is to set a positive intention. So let's just take a minute to do that right now. And in a moment, I'll invite you to set an intention for yourself, a personal intention on how you want to participate tonight. Before I do, somebody that has set intentions in path work, and in our group before, somebody share, I'll give you a minute to think of something. And actually, Joanne and Peg, I keep thinking of what I don't know if you want to share about it or not, what you shared about when you went on your cruise, about your intention every day. I don't know if you feel like sharing that or not. Like an intention that you set that brought about a result that you cared about. You know what I'm talking about, Joanne, right?
Yeah, Peg. So this is a couple of years ago, and Peg and I were celebrating her, I don't know what it was, birthday. It was your 95th birthday. And so it's a big thing, and we were really celebrating. And so when we got on the ship, when you're on a cruise ship, if you aren't thinking of eating, you're out of your mind. So we knew we didn't want to do that. And we knew we wanted to keep moving. And we knew we wanted to stay friends. That was another thing. So what we did was set an intention every morning. We meditated every morning in that little stateroom. And we set an intention that today we're going to do, all the things we're going to do in a positive way. And it worked very well. And the other thing is we came off of that ship actually better friends. I mean, if we could be better friends, because we were able to do that and stay strong and do all the right things for ourselves and enjoy the time. And my face hurt after we get off because I just laughed the entire damn time. So Peg, is that how you remember it? You're on mute.
Yes, right. And even though we said we were going to have a good time, even though there were some of the weather was poor, it was freezing the first couple of days. We finally found a hot tub to jump into, and it was not operating. So we were freezing worse, but we still got off of there and laughed and enjoyed it and found a way to be fine with it. So it's just life. And we found a lot of enjoyment in just being with each other.
It's like if you have friends in path work and you know how to set an intention and you say it with honesty and sincerity, honestly, it works. I mean, and we could have had rubs and all that sort of thing all week. You didn't do it. So thanks, Bill.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. So let me just ask you this, because it's consistent with tonight. So I'm going to invite you to share an intention. How many people now, I really encourage your honesty. When I say, hey, share an intention, your basic thing is, you know what? No, I don't want to. No. Anybody? No? Oh, I do that all. Joanne, Kiera, good. Okay, good. That may be negative intentionality. This is that no we bring to life quite naturally. So your intention for tonight might be to have a good time, or to learn something about path work, or to really pay attention in a way that you don't normally pay attention, or to learn something about yourself that you can use to further your spiritual development, or any or all of the above. So I'll give you a moment to come up with an intention for yourself, like 15, 20 seconds, and go ahead and jot. And I recommend you jot that down. As our beloved Carolyn Tylove has shared, if you forget about your intention, you might not as well have bothered. So consider jotting it down on a scrap of paper and keeping it in front of you. Okay, great. So first, let me share this quote I tripped over yesterday from one of our greatest American writers. This message is central to our discussion tonight. And it's amazing how when you're, it's like when you buy a red Prius, all of a sudden everyone's driving a red Prius. Well, when you're preparing a lecture on negative intentionality, it's popping up all over the place. So let me see if I can share my screen without incident. There's our lecture. That's actually the name of the lecture. And this is the quote. I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hates so stubbornly is because they sense that once hate is gone, they will be forced to deal with pain. Wow. I mean, thank you, James Baldwin. So it's so central to what we're talking about. Our negativity, anger, and hatred are a defense against feelings we're afraid to feel. So they get pushed down and our defenses cover them up. So let's start by making a clear distinction between negativity and what we mean by negative intentionality. Let me share my screen again. I only have 6 slides. I'm not going to slide you to death tonight. Not that there's anything wrong with that being slided to death. Negativity comprises a wide range of feelings, including faults, hostility, reality distortions, envy, hate, fear, pride, anger, etc. So that's negativity. But when we talk about negative intentionality, we mean expressly the intention to hold on to the state of negating life and the self. The mere word intention connotes that the self is in charge and makes a deliberate choice intending to do, act, and be in a certain way. Now, even when you own up to the destructive, cruel, and brutal attitudes, you always give the impression that you can't help but be that way. However, when you ferret out your negative intentionality, you can no longer deceive yourself that negativity just happens to you. You must sooner or later come to terms with the fact that your life is the result of choices, and choice implies the possibility of adopting another attitude. This part of the soul, in the hidden corner of the psyche, wants to hate, be spiteful, to withhold, even when it goes against our best interests. Negative intentionality is not something that one can easily come by. To the conscious mind, such negative intentions may appear unthinkable, but rest assured, we all have this. A simple example is, I won't be happy. I won't smile. When I pass people in the street, I won't smile, or just in general, I won't smile. I won't be enthusiastic, excited. I will not risk being defeated, so I will not risk. I will never admit that I'm wrong. So let me tell you about a profound experience I had. So this is kind of an advanced concept. I mean, there's something for everybody in tonight's lecture, and this is a very advanced concept, but you'll still be able to get some of it. And I wanted to share my process that I did during helpership because it was really profound. And everybody from our class remembers it because it was crazy. So picture this room. It's nighttime. We're in a room where at one end it's dark and the other is lit. So the darkness represents unhappiness, reactivity, non-acceptance of life, and so on. And the lit end represents spirit, life with a capital L. half of us, including me to start, are starting out at the dark end. At the light end, we have partners who are acting on behalf of spirit, urging us to the light. When our teacher, Lorraine, gives a signal, we're supposed to follow our instincts to move towards the light as we feel called. My partner, by the way, was Alexander, my good bud. So the process begins. I take one step from in the back of the room in the dark area. I take one step towards the light and I freeze. I don't want to go any further. I'm feeling, eventually, I'll feel like moving, but I'm not moving right now. Other people are moving. I glance up and see the loving face of my partner, Alexander, representing spirit. He's doing this. He's urging me, he's beckoning me to come to the light. Come on, Billy. He's not saying it out loud, but you can see it. Come on, Billy, come to the light, come on. But my legs won't move. I am frozen in negativity, in negative intentionality. After about 5 people, some people have made it all the way to the wall. Some people have made it halfway. I'm still at step 1. 10 minutes, I'm still stuck. I can't move. And so I sink to my knees and I start sobbing uncontrollably for a long time, like a really long time. And finally time is called and I'm still there and I'm just like prostrate on the floor. And Lorraine has to work with me for a while to get back to what passes for normal for me. So that's negative intentionality writ large. Like, I will not go to spirit. Fuck that. No, I will not. No. That's the personification of negative intentionality. And you could see this in yourself in gentler ways. For example, have you ever had a heated argument with someone you care about where at some point you actually catch yourself for a second? Like you're in the middle of this argument, you're like, "Arr!" And you catch yourself for thinking, and you think, boy, I'm really angry about this. Why am I so angry? You know, this is someone I care about and love that I'm talking. I love this person, but I'm getting ready to tear their head off. And you realize it and you go, yeah, but no. and you refuse and you just knuckle under and just keep going for it. That's negative intentionality. So let's just stop for a moment. Raise your hand if you have a question about it so far. At the same time, if anybody has had an experience of negative intentionality they'd like to share, you can also raise your hand. I'll give you a minute. Julie.
So an experience I've had recently is I've been very angry all week at my husband, his health is not doing well. Instead of feeling my fear of that, I've just been really angry and picking on him and berating him and making him feel like he's at fault that his health is so bad. And today I had him at a doctor's office and he went through a very painful experience. And I just broke down in tears because I realized I'm not angry at him, but my heart is breaking that he has all this pain and I feel so hopeless. So it was just the fear of feeling that I knew I'd been angry all week.
Mm-hmm. So you've got your anger and your negativity covering that fear. You didn't want to feel that fear. And did you allow yourself to feel the fear?
By the time it got to me, it was like, okay, I either cry or I go crazy. And I'm in the doctor's office and I just started crying and the way they were checking on me, but it was like, I couldn't not feel it when he was having all that pain while they were working on him. So it was like, ever since then, I've been so nice and caring. I mean, it just helped me clear that fear of not being able to do anything for him. And it's changed our whole relationship today. So.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Question or negative intentionality share? Alexander.
Well, this just really sank in, Billy. And I think it came from your example. You know, most often it's with my partner. And most often it's like, I'm not going to give you what you want.
Yeah. No.
I'm just not going to give you what you want. And how it hit me is like, oh, it's this aspect of control. It's like my negative intentionality lets me think that I'm in control. Like that I get to divvy out my love or my appreciation or my compassion, or right. It's like, oh, if I hold those things, then they're mine, then I can keep them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really got how that negative intentionality is like, I'm just not going to do it because, like, not even because, I'm just not going to do it.
Do you have thank you. Do you have a fear of a loss of control? Like that, was that like a big thing for you?
I guess so. I mean, it's just occurring to me, so I'll have to think about it. But that's would seem so. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Alexander. So let's do just a little quick poll here to see where people are at. Oh, this is not the right one. Oh, here we go. So Peggy, I'm just going to read these for you while everybody else is doing them. The first one is, this is, what can you see for yourself regarding negative intentionality? The first answer is, by the way, this is all anonymous. No one's going to know what you selected. The first one is, I can see at least an inkling of negative intentionality in me. The second one is, I hear what you're saying about negative intentionality, but I don't see it in me, at least yet. The third is, I would be very surprised to find out that I have negative intentionality. And the fourth is, I'm still not clear what is meant by negative intentionality. And oh my goodness, this is interesting. Peggy, you want to holler yours out while everyone's doing theirs? Oh, Amy Goldstein, can I share what you said, Amy? I'm going to, because you said, Amy Goldstein says there's no option for seeing it all the time.
I think I feel more with the second one, where I know that there has to be something hidden, and I know there's a touch of it, but I can't quite catch it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see where a connection with other people deeper than I had since last year. It's like a gradual change, where I've run into a couple instances. One is where I was sent to a collection agency because I honestly never did receive a bill for my homeowner's insurance. Mm-hmm. And the company went through the proper procedure to the correct address, no mailings until I heard from the collection agency. Mm. And I realized when I was talking with them, I said, this is the strangest thing. No one is to blame. It's just a very strange situation. And if it's anyone who looks suspect, it's me. Mm-hmm. And nobody is to blame. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh dear, I don't like what's going on, but there's no one to blame. Mm-hmm. It's just the strangest thing. And then I'm having a technical challenges with Comcast, mm-hmm. and I'm finding out by talking with lots of people with broken voicemails, more and more of us are finding out something's wrong, and they're changing the voicemail system, and in the meantime, people are getting strange glitches mm-hmm. in their service. And there again, I love all the people I've spoken to. Mm-hmm. You know, I enjoy them and say, there's no one to blame. Mm-hmm. And I kid them about.
You bring up, I'm glad you said that, because you bring a good point. The distinction between negativity and negative intentionality. Negative intentionality it doesn't have a reason. It's not like, you know what, that car cut me off, so I honked my horn really loud and I gave him the finger and I screamed. That's negativity. Mm-hmm. There's no mm-hmm. because. Negative intent, there's a because, there's a reason. Negative intentionality is like, you know what? No. Whatever it is, no. Thank you, Peg. I'm going to share the results of the polls with everybody. It's actually amazing that 93% of the people picked the first one. I could see an inkling of negative intentionality in me. And Peggy, you only want to pick the second one. And the last one, two people said still not clear what is meant by negative intentionality. That's good. There's only two, and we're on the right track, and we'll be talking more about it. So we're all set. Thank you for participating in the poll. Oh, and wherever you are right now is the perfect place for you to be. Relax into it, and don't forget your intention. If you forgot your intention already, remind yourself. Here's something to reflect on. This is just, I won't take any shares on this right now, but just ask yourself this question. What truly prevents you from saying, I do not want to hate, I want to love. I do not want to withhold any longer, but I want to give the best of myself to life. All right. So, let me share my screen again. And we have 6 attitudes: negativity and negative intentionality. And so I'm going to show negative intentionality in a minute, but right now these are the negativities ones. The first one is I can't change. So this is sort of the lowest level, if you will. See if you can relate to one or more of these and see if you can sort of find your place in them. And you might have different attitudes in different circumstances, right? You might have at work, I have this going on, and my relationship, I have this other thing going on, and like that. So the first one is I can't change. This is where you have no awareness of the negativity behind your so-called protective defenses. This level of consciousness expresses itself as I can't change, the most basic level. People at this level feel victimized by life. They can't understand why they've been dealt such bad cards in life. They feel stuck. Everything is someone else's fault. There are no jobs. I can't get a job. There are no jobs. There are no good men out there. Nobody appreciates me. So it's a sort of victim, I can't change. So the next level of evolution, if you will, is I won't change. So this is higher. This says you accept more of your good and painful feelings. So there's a little 50-50. And therefore, you're not as much protecting yourself with negative defenses. But you still want to punish and are spiteful. But it's not as intense as negative intentionality. Examples, being right with so like having an argument with somebody and just not wanting to give in. But in this negativity, again, there's always a because. I'm not going to do it because you hurt me, because you ignored me, because you didn't get me. These are, they're reasonable and they're childish from the point of view of child-based consciousness. And we'll see with negative intentionality, there's no because. The next one is, I want to change. So this is where you start to discover your negativity to all the good things in life, and you want to change direction. You say, I want to change. I want to stop arguing with my partner. I want to stop seeing the glass as half full all the time. I want to be able to ask for what I need. So that's the next level. So then, in the negative intentionality, this is the big I will not. give up my resistance. No. If you haven't done so already, if you keep doing this work, eventually you will discover that you secretly identify with negative intentionality. Your willful attitude expresses, I will not give up my I won't. There is no because, there is no in order to. It's like you are intentionally saying, I won't bring my full force, my full power, my full self, my full truth. I will not give my best to life. This is a misuse of the will current, right? The will current, we have our positive will, it's divine. Divine will distorted is this. It's a powerful, willful, self-defeating no. So negative intentionality is informed by our misguided perceptions about life. What the lectures call images, right? All men are, all lawyers are, all politicians are, God is. If I believe, here's some examples. If I believe my needs won't be met, then my negative intentionality will be, I'll never let you know what my needs are. Instead, I'll be a victim about how you don't give me what I need. How many times do you hear, like, that's like the classic couples therapy thing? You know, he, she never appreciate, never done, you know, well, have you ever asked for it? No, well, if you have to ask for it, then what good is it? Another example, like if I believe, if I bring forth my healthy anger, I'll be rejected. So I will not show you my healthy anger, even though that would forward our relationship. Instead, I'll act out in passive aggressive ways. So my anger will leak out. I'll be sarcastic. I do that a lot with my humor sometimes. And it eats away at my relationships because I will not trust that I can be express my healthy anger. I will not take the consequences of what might come. Instead, I'll act out with passive aggressiveness. Anybody else, before I move off of negative intentionality, anybody else have an example, now that we've talked a little bit more about it, of negative intentionality in your, with yourself, in your life? Kathy, you're on mute, dear.
I refuse to work on this anymore because I've tried and I tried and I tried and it doesn't work. So I'm not going to work with you anymore on this.
Yeah, nice. And good, thank you. Any sense of what's the feeling you might be covering up?
I think the feeling that I would be covering up there would be my feeling of helplessness.
Yeah, and will types. You identify as being a will type, right?
A little.
A little bit. So that's like the, that's the worst. Helplessness is the worst.
That is death, Billy. That is death.
And what about an image? What's the image you have? The, you know, the decision you made about life that you're reacting from?
Well, I think I'm reacting from the place of again, helplessness or hopelessness, maybe even there, is that that the price that I would pay for that would be almost ridicule.
So the image is, if I keep trying and failing, I will be ridiculed.
Yeah. The price I would pay would be that I would have to feel, I think I would have to feel my shame.
Wow.
I would be ashamed that I tried so hard and that I showed people that I wanted that so much.
So the image is, if I try really hard and succeed, then I have shamed myself. Then I will have shamed myself. It's shameful to try hard and not succeed. It's shameful. That's just how it is. That's true. It's true. It's shameful to try hard and not succeed. That's the way it is. So I will not try hard. No, you can go to hell. I'm done.
Come to my house.
I live in your house. Anybody else? Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Darling, could you take the screen down, or is that you still using it?
Oh yeah. Well, let me take it down for now, and then I'll put it back up. Anybody else?
I will not care, not even enough to unmute myself.
Are you joking, or is that a
No, my negative intentionality is clear as a bell. I will not care.
I will not care. Mm-hmm. And do you know what the image is that you're operating out of?
That would require caring.
Okay, let's say that's true.
No, if I care, I'll get hurt.
And what's the feeling? People who care,
the image is, if I care, I will get hurt.
If you care, you get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then do you have a feeling that it's covering up?
Sadness.
Thank you. Beautiful. Anyone else? Oh, Debbie. Denny, did you have a hand up also? Oh, okay. Don't scratch yourself or you're going to get called on.
Yeah, I have my hand up.
Yeah, Debbie.
Okay. I'm in this situation right now. Someone hurt me pretty bad, and I responded back, and now I'm thinking, well, the ball's in your court. I'm not making another move until you do something about this.
And so is that an individual phenomenon with this person, or is that a general Debbie Davis negativity, would you say?
I would say years ago, it was probably more profoundly active within me, but right at this moment, it's just an individual thing
Okay.
that I need to swallow and bite the bullet and move forward.
What would it be? What would be, so I'm not sure if it's negativity or negative intentionality exactly, but what would be giving your best to life in this scenario? If you were really to give your best, if you're telling some angel what to do, what would be giving your best to life?
I would be in touch with this person, and make the peace, make peace.
But I will not.
Well,
I will not. No,
not yet. Not
the
yet.
answer is no.
Not yet. That's right. I'm going to gloat a little bit. Let her suffer a little.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's really her that's suffering.
Yeah.
Or she's the only one who's suffering in the relationship. Anyone else? Kiera, was that? No, I don't miss anything. So, you got to be careful. Sit on your hands if you don't want to get called on. All right. Let me share back the screen again. So we made it as far as negative intentionality. Well, the fourth stage, if you will. I will not give up resistance. So the fifth stage is I will, and I can't do it alone. At this stage, you realize that you cannot make the change to deliberately affirm life without help from your spiritual self. And maybe from spirit, and maybe with a helper, etc. You cannot do it alone. At a minimum, you need to cultivate your inner stillness and ask for help. This attitude expresses itself by saying, I can't do it alone. It's humbling. And then the last step is I wait in faith. I work and wait. So this stage, you're ready to make the basic transition to another level of consciousness. You become receptive and you wait in faith. And so there's some work to do, but the big work is, trusting in spirit and letting go. So I have another poll. Let's do another poll. This is the last poll I will do. This is the last one I created. Else we do one on the fly, but I don't see that happening. And this is just where you see yourself in these. I'm curious how this is going to go. I really don't know. But these are those 6 stages and where you see yourself. And Peggy, you can, if you feel like it, come off mute and say, if you can see yourself. And the 6 stages again are, I can't change, I won't change, I want to change, I will not. I want to change and can't do it alone, and I wait in faith. Yeah, go ahead, Peggy, while people are voting.
I think I'm between, like the last 3 steps, the one that I will not,
yeah,
because I see a stubbornness, and I will not eat the way I should, even though I know some of the principles. I will not sit down and write, even though I should. I've got plenty of paper to write on, and I'm also aware. This is a little bit beyond me because I know that's something that I want to change and I would need help with it. And once I've had some processing, I think I'd be able to sit back, relax, and trust the process, because I generally feel very joyful and contented. But I do see these weaknesses, and I think I laughingly told a friend, I'm perverse. Here I have my paper already, a desk all cleared off so I can write comfortably. So what do I not want to do? Sit down and write. I will not. And I said, well, why the heck not?
Right.
And I do need to take better care of myself as far as nutrition and exercise. Yeah.
So we'll kill ourselves, rather than diet and exercise. I will not do it. No, I will not do it. Thank you, Peggy.
Even though I love salads.
Yeah. Thank you, Peggy. Okay, the results are in. Let's see what we got here. Nobody's at the victim level, I can't change. 2 honest people are at the I won't change. 5 are at I want to change. 2 are at I will not. Good. And then 14 say I want to change but can't do it alone. And 7 are I wait in faith. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I forgot where we are right now. But don't worry, I will. Give me 1 second. Find my place. Okay. So the biggest challenge we have with negative intentionality is that we identify with it. We think our negative intentionality is who we are. So really let this sink in if you can. Your resistance to giving up what you hate most in yourself, what you know is most hateful, is due to false identification. You think it's who you are. You must change your identification. So what does the guide mean by identification? It means we think it's who we are. Like if I wasn't angry, I cease to exist. Like, you know, just a general explanation of identification. Like if I think I'm a great father, like that's who I am. I'm a great father. And then my children run off and join Al-Qaeda. Now I guess I'm not a great father. Well, who I was a great father. Now I don't know who I am. I'm nobody. So that's what identification is. Another example, suppose I think of myself as a great pathwork teacher and I'm over-identified with this. And then if tonight doesn't go well, I mean, my whole sense of self, will be out the window. I'll be devastated. Fortunately, I'm not over-identified with being a pathwork teacher. I do love pathwork teaching. And if tonight doesn't go well, I'll be fine. Even though you know your negative intentionality causes you and others pain, that it makes you miss out on living fully and enjoy, that it causes you severe guilt and self-punishment, you are stuck because of your identification with negative intentionality. To break free, you must identify with your higher self, your spiritual self. If you identify exclusively with your willful ego, you cannot break free. So one more slide. Whoops. To break free, you must identify with your higher self, your spiritual self. If you exclusively identify with the willful ego, you cannot break free. So here's our, on the left side, our lower self, willful ego, unconscious child consciousness. Who I am is angry, spiteful, etc. So we have this lower self child consciousness that we're over-identified with. And then there's also, on the right side, this higher self, limitless love, divinity incarnate, I contribute to life. We all have one. And then we have this healthy conscious ego, or also known as the observer self. And we need this observer to see our negative intentionality, admit it, and begin to tackle it. There's no way we're going to stop and ask for help with our negative intentionality if we don't see it and really lift it up, right? So the healthy conscious ego creates a bridge between the lower self, child consciousness, and the higher self consciousness by asking questions of the higher self. And as you do this, you identify less and less with the lower self child consciousness and become more of an observer for it. This is a start. So this is a start. You're never getting rid of child consciousness, by the way. You're just getting better and better at seeing it and not letting it run you. So, let's ask, what questions might you ask of your higher self? Joanne.
Help me to see where I'm out of reality.
Help me to see where I'm out of reality. Fantastic. Joe, G.
Help me to stay connected to my higher self.
Help me stay connected to my higher self. Or how can I stay, if it's a question, how can I stay connected to my higher self? Yeah, perfect. Love it. Laura Kinzel and Debbie Davis. You're on mute, Laura.
Help me to be aware of my courage.
Help me to be aware of my courage. Love it. Debbie?
Help me to be less judgmental, more accepting, and more compassionate.
And how would you say it as a question of the higher self? Well, how can I be more compassionate? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This isn't Jeopardy, but okay. And Nancy Carpenter wrote in, help me to know what the truth is. I had a couple. Anybody else? Joanne Benedetto.
Help me to have faith that you'll help me.
Ooh, help me to have faith that you'll help me. Nice. Also had, is this who I really am? Is this all there is to me? Is this what I really want? Does this serve me? So, hold on a second. Let me get my, now remember, we need to still accept the lower self as part of ourselves. We can't sweep it under the rug. That would be like spiritually bypassing. That'd be like being a dry drunk. You pretend you got it handled, but your foundation is a house of cards. That's why in AA, we say, I am an alcoholic, not, I used to be an alcoholic, but I'm all good now. Not helpful. If you identify with your higher self, your spirit, without being truly aware of your lower self, then identifying with your higher self is more of an escape and an illusion. So you have to accept yourself as consisting partly of the higher self and partly of the lower self, of child consciousness. And then the issue becomes, which one do I choose to identify with? So the main work we do is building that healthy conscious ego, that bridge, so that we can see our lower self actions and make different choices. Okay, so let's do a little meditation. If you would close your eyes or relax your gaze for a second. And as you do, reflect on one of your recent unpleasant exchanges, possibly an argument you had with someone, or something someone said that left you feeling badly and you held it against them. I'll give you a minute. And then you can jot down what you came up with. Again, an argument you had someone and it left you felt and you had and you felt and you held it against them. So just see if you can find one. Raise your hand if you need a little bit more time. Okay. Okay, so staying within yourself, reflect on that exchange. Was there ever a point where if you'd been willing, you could have disarmed it, but didn't? You could have said, we're both upset and this isn't going well. I care about you. I don't want to fight. I'm sorry for my part, etc. But you didn't. You chose not to. So if you can just show of hands, how many people are able to do that so far? Is this? Okay, most people, good. Okay, so still staying with yourself. See if you can feel into an intention you had to not let go, to stay in the mess, to refuse to move off your point of view. Thank you. Would anybody like to share what they came up with? We have time for one share. Alexander. Oh, sorry, Denny. We'll have 2 shares.
You can go with Denny. I shared already.
Yeah, but she's not. Oh, go ahead, Denny. Thank
Do
you.
you want me to share the whole process or just the last part?
Whatever you think would best communicate.
Okay. I recently had a situation with someone and I was upset. And so I just said, decided okay, I think it's time for me to just go home instead of talking about it, telling them what was going on with me. I just instead, I was like, no, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah.
And as you were asking us about it, I was thinking, I mean, you didn't get this far, but I think what I felt was if I had allowed myself to feel something, it would have been oh, there's no way out of this. There's no way for me to create a way out of this without creating total disconnection, without losing you. There's no way out.
Without losing yourself.
No, without losing connection with the other person.
Okay.
So better to just know, I'm just going to stay like this. That seemed safer. Be I won't talk about it.
Yeah. Good. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. So this is a heavy subject. So let's sprinkle in a little levity to help make the point that negative intentionality is a deliberate choice. So give me 1 second to set this up. Okay, that goes there. This is very tricky doings right here. Okay, I think I got it. Ready? Are you ready for this? This is going to be special, maybe. I don't know. And now it's time for Let's Make a Deal with everyone's favorite host, Alexander Monty Denmark.
I have to be unmuted. Hey, thank you, Billy. Welcome, everybody. Wow, look at this fabulous studio audience that we've got here with us tonight. Studio audience, are you ready to welcome our first contestant, Debbie Davis?
Debbie. Hi, Alexander.
Hey.
Oh my God, I'm just incredibly happy to be here.
Well, we are so excited to have Debbie Hambone Davis here as our first contestant this evening. Welcome, Debbie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sure, Alexander. Okay, I love having fun in life and I love hamming it up. I also have a German short-haired pointer, a Great Dane, and an Irish thoroughbred, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Wow, well, welcome, Debbie. I hear you guys have got a great pathwork community in Pittsburgh. We're so excited to have you here.
You bet we do, and I'm thrilled to be with you, Alexander. Thanks for having me.
Okay, are you ready to play this game?
Oh, you bet.
Okay, so we're going to review how it's played, okay? You are going to be given 3 doors from which to choose. Each door is marked clearly with what is behind it. So there are no surprises with what your choices will bring. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Okay, great. Billy, let's show Debbie and our studio audience the 3 doors. So Debbie, here are your choices. Behind door number 1 is acceptance of life on life's terms. Door number 2, inner peace and harmony. Door number 3, disappointment, anger, and negation of life. Debbie, choices are going to be tough. Are you ready to make your pick?
Oh, Alexander, I think, but oh wow, this is so tough. I'm not sure yet. I don't know.
Time is ticking, Debbie. You've got to make a decision.
I know, but okay, but this is so hard. These choices are just, oh my God. All right, Alexander. I think I got it. I got it.
What's your answer, Deb?
Okay, I'm gonna go with what I'm comfortable with. I'm gonna take door number 3, disappointment, anger, and negation of life.
Okay, you said door number 3, anger, disappointment, and negation of life.
Right. Door number 3, that's it.
Okay, I have to admit, Debbie, I did not expect that. Can you let our studio audience know what had you choose door number 3?
Oh, sure, Alexander. Well, you know, I've been getting the raw deal in life, and I'm really, most of the time, I'm so pissed off. And, you know, if I would take peace and harmony, I mean, who would I be? I'm certainly not going to take life on life's terms. I couldn't trust that. So I'm going to stick with what I'm used to and what feels comfortable with me. So door number 3, I just know that's the right door for me.
Okay, well, before we see what you've won, Debbie, Billy, can we please see what's behind the other doors that Debbie didn't choose, behind acceptance of life on life's terms? There is, some beautifully connected experiences. Darn. Behind door number 2, inner peace and harmony. What has she won? Oh, that looks quite peaceful behind door number 2. Okay, Billy, what about door number 3? Oh, Deb, congratulations. You've won a lifetime of anger, disappointment, and negation of life. Congratulations, Debbie Hambone Davis.
Thanks, Alexander, thanks. That's exactly what I wanted. I think.
Congratulations, Deb. You're the winner. And now, Debbie, and now, Billy, it's back to you.
All right. Good job, guys. Well, the point of this insane skit is to show you that even though we think that negative intentionality is the last thing we want, and even though that these other things are available to us, peace, harmony, living acceptance of life and life's terms, despite all that, we actively choose negativity. And it's, you know, the fact that we choose it is tremendously difficult to admit. But the good news is that once you can admit to your negative intentionality, then the door to freedom opens, even before you're ready to step through the door. So remember we talked about the need to own and work the lower self to transform and be willing to transform a negative intentionality. It's not easy because of our identification with the lower self. Feels like giving it up would be like self-annihilation. In fact, giving up a negative attitude seems like dying, like I'll die. But dying into what? It means dying into your true self, where your real feelings and your real being are. If you're willing to feel your feelings, you will know who you are. If you are not, you must remain your limited self. That's the choice. Feel your feelings and know who you are, or remain your limited self. So how do you give up identification with the lower self? Last slide, I think it's the last slide. Well, let's say it's the last slide. Whoops. I didn't share my screen, did I?
Unless your screenshot is of us.
Yes. All right. So the way out. First step is make the initial commitment to find out the truth about yourself. This includes the observation and admissions of your real thoughts and feelings. It means experiencing all of your feelings and owning up to them on all levels. The second step is to ask yourself the question, how am I going to extricate myself from identifying with my lower self? Is this really all I am? Is it true that my reality ceases to exist when I give up negative intention and will? And to realize that the observer consciousness that is asking the question is already above and beyond the negativity you assume to be you. And the third is to commit to your real self, what it really feels and thinks, and to feel your feelings. To welcome the pain, as Joanne Brickley at the beginning shared, which is real and flowing when you feel it. And it's inconvenient, but it will transmute ultimately to something divine. Spirit travels on the vibration of feelings. As you transmute the pain, you can feel yourself growing closer to spirit, to your real self. So, all right, just looking for time. I love this quote from the guide. I might have bastardized it, but this is basically it. You will not become a different person. You will become the best that you already are. When you become it, you will recognize it. You will experience its familiarity. You will feel how safe it is and how much you it is. Whoops. Okay. All right, now let us try. Let me see if I still like this. Hang on one second. Let me still see like this exercise I wanted to do. You guys are further along than I thought you were going to be. Yep. Okay. This will be good. So remember the 6 stations. So we're going to do a little guided meditation about the 6, like Porky Pig for a second. We're going to do a little guided meditation about the 6 attitudes. Don't have to remember anything. I'll be guiding you every step of the way. This could bring up feelings, but don't go any deeper than you know you can handle. I'm going to give you some things to think about, and after each one, I'll be quiet for about 10 or 15 seconds. So take a few deep breaths, relax, close your eyes or relax your gaze, and just connect into yourself. And let's all together set this intention. I want to gently visit the attitudes of my negativity and negative intentionality to help me transition from my ego self to my spiritual self. I'll say it again. I want to gently visit the attitudes of negativity and negative intentionality in me to help me move from my ego self to my spiritual self. So let's start by choose a negative life experience you want to change but are stuck. Some recurring negative annoyance that won't go away. Or something that's recent, but ideally something that's hung around for a while. Something you want that you can't seem to get. Or something you can never seem to resolve. So let's start with negativity. The first stage is I can't. See if you can gently connect with the victim consciousness behind the negative life experience you want to change, but you are stuck. See if you can feel into that victim-y, I can't. Great. Now on to I won't change. See if you can connect with I won't change as a way perhaps to spite and punish your parents, others, life itself, God. I won't change. Great. Now on to I want to change. As you do, listen to these words from the guide. I do not want to hate, I want to love. I don't want to withhold any longer. I want to give the best of myself to life. I do not need my spitefulness. I truly desire to give it up. I want to reach out and give to life and receive equally the best that life has to offer. So as I be quiet, see if you can feel into I want to change. Great. Now on to negative intentionality. See if you can just at least dip your toe into the I will not give up my I won't. Your deliberate will, intention to resist life and refusal to give up that resistance. No, I won't. Nice. Now try shifting to I will. My deep resistance to life is not who I really am. I will not cease to exist when I give up my negative intentionality. Feel into I will choose life and love. Great. Now see if you can feel into, I can't do this alone. Ask Spirit for help. Please let me let this go. Help me shift my intentionality to the positive. Great. And the last step is I wait. As I do my work, at the same time, I wait for the universal forces to make the change from my ego self to my spiritual self. I will be patient. I wait. Now, stay within yourself as I play a short song by the Barr Brothers about letting go. As I do, allow yourself to impress onto your soul your deep desire to let go of your negative intentionality.
Let me lose this old way that I took. Please let me let it go. recover my way through the world. Please let me let it go. Please let me let it go. Please let me let it go. Please let me lose this old way that I took. Please let me let it go. Please let me have some more time. Please let me have some more time. Please let me have some more time with my fool. Please let me let it go. Please see that my grave is kept clean. Please see that my grave is kept clean from all of the flotsam and dead falling leaves. Please let me let it go. Please let me let it go. Please let me let it go. Please let me lose this old way that I took. Please let me let it go. Please let me lose this old way that I took. Please let me let it go. Please let me let it go. Please let me let it go.
When you're ready, write down any reflections you had during this, and we're going to go into breakout rooms in a bit for 12 minutes. And nobody has to share. And what we're going to do, what you will be invited to do, is share anything you got from this meditation or from tonight at all.
We've been evicted from the chat room.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to wrap up now. Just take a minute to jot down one or more things that you got from tonight and or next steps you want to do for yourself from what your work tonight. And while you're doing that, if anyone feels like sharing one thing that you got from tonight or what your next steps can be from tonight, I'd love to hear from you. Heather. You have to unmute. Okay.
I know. Okay. So my girlfriend invited me to this and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it because I'm having like a big thing in my life right now. And I just got in my chat room and I realized that, you know, I needed to participate, like unmute and show up. And so I had this beautiful group and they were so beautiful. And Elaine O'Neill was in it and Joanne Cago and Peggy. And it was great because I just finished this huge child part of this problem I'm having with my ex, and it's like 7 years old. And I've been in this like rage, and you guys told me it was okay. And it's like, you know, thank you. Gratitude to everyone. And you also said, Billy, like, it's not going to go away. So ever, you know, because I've been teaching yoga for 25 years and doing all this spiritual work, it's still not going to go away. So thank you. And then the next step for me, I know what they are. I told my group because they were so sweet. I'm going to put myself out there more. And I'm grateful for this experience. This is my first time ever. Right? So thank you. That was
the
takeaway. It's okay to like be mad and angry, but get over it, move on.
Yeah.
Here's the next step. So thank you.
Well, welcome. And I also want to especially acknowledge you for leaping out there and sharing in front of a big group. It's such a vulnerable thing. Really sweet.
Yeah,
really
it's
nice.
Good because like I'm not like I didn't think I was going to do that. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Thank you. Fantastic. I feel like, you know, I've made some new spiritual connections.
You see all the smiling faces in these squares? This is like, it's very easy to fall into this community, by the way. About 80–90% of us know each other, but just one meeting's all you need and you're in the family. So don't think you know, welcome anytime. Unfortunately, we don't have another First Wednesday until October, but we have other events. If you look
I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere.
I see you, Kate. It's Kate's first time also, but she's not going to share anything. If a grain of wheat could know fear, it would be paralyzed with anxiety about the thought of being dropped in the ground, covered over, put out of sight, doomed to inactivity. Yet what a glorious harvest awaits it. So that's the faith, the waiting in faith. It might be dark, it might be uncomfortable, but faith is called for. That's the main action, the decision to ask for help and to wait in faith. Try to believe this. Let go a little. Let the light come into you and accept that reality is not all dismal. It is indeed a beautiful reality. The universe is full of love. Truth is love and love is truth. The freedom of your own spirit will be found in truth and love. Be blessed, all of you. Thank you all for coming. You're all invited to our after party to celebrate the end of the First Wednesday series. It's going to be fun, I promise. We're going to start in a couple of minutes with a fun Wheel of Fortune type game. In the meantime, if you'd like to, please use the chat box to share any comments or appreciation about tonight or the whole series of First Wednesday. This concludes the 2020 to 2021 First Wednesday series. Congratulations to everybody for everything done. Thank you, Mayron.